So I'm going to go over the difference between the prong collar, something that a lot of people have, the Starmark collar, which is a less aversive version of the prong, but it's the same concept. And another tool that I find very useful, which is the slip collar. Now this does come in different forms. It comes in chain, nylon, leather, in different materials, different thicknesses. And what I do use is the chain version of it, because it can be useful in different scenarios that can be applied in different situations, which this tool will work great. It does get the message across. I don't have a problem with this tool at all. It's an awesome tool. But when the dog gets a little bit aroused, the dog gets a little bit excited, or the dog gets very antsy, this tool can create a little bit of extra anxiety that we don't want, because what it does is all this pinching back and forth can actually agitate the dog even more. So then you find yourself in a place where if the dog starts to act a little bit too antsy, you correct them. But then what happens is it'll just agitate them even more. And now for that agitation to be capped, now you have to like give a really hard correction for that to kind of go away. And sometimes it doesn't even do that. Sometimes it'll still agitate the dog even more. So when you have your dog in a very, very high agitation, high alert scenario, high alert situation, yes, I mean, if you have this on, use it, but keep in mind that it can potentially agitate your dog. Okay, the Starmark, it's basically the same thing, same concept, so it can do the same thing. It can agitate the dog, but sometimes what it ends up doing is it ends up not being effective enough. If you have a sensitive dog, this could be effective enough. If your dog is not sensitive, this might work. So if you're interested in this, let me know. But the Starmark collar can be effective just on some dogs. That is an option. Okay. So what I end up using with dogs that are a little bit more on the sensitive side, or not on the sensitive side, but they're agitated quite a bit, or they find themselves in situations that agitate them and frustrate them, what I'll do is, instead of using this in those situations, okay, if I have my dog that is in that situation quite a bit, I will use this instead, because the difference, it's a big difference. Okay, what this does is this will still give a correction if you need to, okay, provided the dog understands. But the dog will get the correction, but also it doesn't agitate the dog, because it's not pinching all throughout the neck. It's just pinching on one little side right here, and it's only pinching in this one little part right here. So the dog is still going to get that correction, but it's not going to get agitated. Additionally, what I can do with this that I cannot do with the prong, or it's not as effectively done with the prong, is with this I can manipulate the dog around a little bit. So if I need to like move the dog this way, I can. If I need to put the dog into a sit, I can do that without adding a whole lot of agitation. Whereas with the prong, if I try to manipulate the dog, if I try to move the dog around, if I try to put the dog into a sit, what will end up happening is the entire time that I'm manipulating the dog into a position, what happens is I'm also now pinching. So as I'm pinching, now I'm adding agitation back into the mix. So use the prong collar accordingly. You just have to be aware that it does have some disadvantages. Now the other tool is your e-collar. In this particular collar, in this particular setting, here we have the level is going to be the black button right here, and then the boost. In this case, it's a 5 level boost, which you can adjust to be more than 5, but this red one is going to represent that boost. Okay, what I use with a dog that is a little bit on the sensitive side, but what I'll do with one of those dogs is I will use this primarily, and if I need to go up a little bit more, I'm going to switch to the red one. And I always go by 5s or by 10s. Going to 3 or 6, 7, going by 1s, by 2s, by 3s, not really that effective. Think of 100 levels as 10 levels. So level 10 is going to be level 1, 5 is going to be half of that level. If you try to go to every single level and try to go that way, it's just going to give you a headache. Not to mention that dialing it just right can be kind of a pain. So I'm going to go to 5, and if 5 doesn't cut it, if the distraction is a little bit higher, I'm going to go to level 10. And then my boost now is going to go to level 15 because it's plus 5. Okay, 20 out of 100, it's really level 2 out of 10. Still very low. And if I need to go past that, I'm going to go into the boost, which is going to bring me to 25. Now, why the level changes? It depends. It depends on the situation. When you are in a high excitement and high intensity situation, your body, your whole body, your biology, your chemistry prepares you for that which you anticipate, which is a high level, high excitement level of activity. So when that happens, your body starts to prepare you for it. And what happens is your tolerance starts to increase because you're now getting ready to run. That's what happens with dogs. When they see something and they get very agitated, very frustrated, the tolerance goes up. So even though level 5 or 10 will do in some situations, when the frustration level goes up, 5 or 10 are not going to do much. Then we're going to have to go up, because as the distraction increases, the tolerance will increase, which means your levels need to now increase as well to keep up with that. Once the frustration and the excitement go down, you also want to adjust your levels accordingly. This is why the boost feature is an excellent feature that eCloud Technologies did get right. So it allows you to kind of instantly go to that level that you need. Okay, so just be aware of that the level will change back and forth.